Mamma mia! Here we go again. The Torah of Moses teaches us to honor our mother. Today's message is about honoring mothers. This is an illustration. A man came home from work one afternoon and found his 3 small children outside, still in their pajamas, playing in the mud. Some of their toys were scattered across the lawn and on the driveway. The door of his wife's car was wide open, and so was the front door of their house. Surprised at this, he rushed inside and was confronted with evidence of complete disarray. A lamp had been knocked over, the TV was loudly blaring on a cartoon channel, and the family room was littered with toys and children's clothing. He went into the kitchen. The sink was filled with dirty dishes. Breakfast food had been spilled on the counter. The refrigerator door was open, and dog food was scattered all over the floor. Very concerned now, and fearing the worst, he frantically began looking for his wife, heading up the stairs, stepping over toys and more piles of clothes as he went. He was worried she might be ill or that something serious had happened to her. Rushing into their bedroom, he saw her, still in her pajamas. She lay there, curled up on their bed, reading a novel. She looked up, smiled at him, and asked him how his day had been. Completely bewildered, he looked at her and asked, "What happened here today?" Again she smiled and then answered, "You know, every day when you come home from work, you ask me, what in the world do I do all day long?" "Yes," he answered. She answered, "Well, today I didn't do it." We are here today to honor mothers. Paul said in Romans 13:6, to give honor to whom honor is due. Honor is certainly due to most mothers, and most of this honor may well be overdue or past due. Did you hear about the 3 sons who left home, went out on their own, and prospered? Getting back together, they discussed the gifts they were able to give to their elderly mother. The first said, "I built a big house for our mother." The second said, "I sent her a Mercedes with a driver." The third smiled and said, "I've got both you beat." You remember how Mom enjoyed reading the Bible? And you know she can't see very well. I sent her a remarkable parrot that cites the Bible. It took Bible scholars 12 years to teach him. He's one of a kind. Mama just has to name the chapter and verse, and the parrot recites it. Soon thereafter, Mom sent out her letters of thanks. "Milton," she wrote, "the house you built is so huge. I live in only one room, but I have to clean the whole house." "Gerald," she wrote to another, "I'm too old to travel. I stay most of the time at home, so I rarely use the Mercedes, and the driver is so rude." "Dearest Donald," she wrote to her third son, You have the good sense to know what your mother likes. The chicken was delicious. A school teacher gave her class of second graders a lesson on the magnet and what it does. The next day, the teacher asked her students this question. My name has 6 letters. The first one is an M. I pick up things. What am I? When the test papers were turned in, the teacher was surprised to find that almost 50% of the students answered the question with the word mother. Yes, mothers do pick up things. Yes, they do pick up after their children and often after their husbands. But mothers are more than just magnets, picking up after everyone in the house. They are many things. I want to mention some of these things in order to order them today. 1, her hands work. 2, her mouth speaks. And 3, her heart loves. Okay, her hands work. A boy got his first job. As he was boasting about the amount of work he did, he said, I get up at 5 a.m. and I have my breakfast. He was asked, does anyone else get up too? He replied, oh yes, mother gets up and fixes my breakfast and then fixes dad's breakfast. And what about your dinner? Oh, the boy said, oh yeah, mother fixes that too. Does your mother have the afternoon to herself? The boy replied, no. Mama cleans the house, looks after the older children, and then gets supper for me and Dad when we come home. Then we watch TV before we go to bed. What about your mother? What does she do? The boy replied, Mama washes clothes and irons the rest of the evening. Do you get paid? Of course. Dad and I get paid. And what about your mother? Does she get paid too? The boy replied, Mother get paid? Mother don't get paid. She don't do no work. In this text, Proverbs 31, we see that mothers do all kinds of work. She sews, verses 13, 19, and 22. She selects wool and works with her hands. Number 14, verse 14, she shops, bringing her food from afar. She cooks, verse 15. She provides food for her family. She gardens, verse 16. She plants a vineyard. Our text also says that mother, verse 15, gets up while it is still dark to prepare food. And verse 18, her lamp does not go out at night. What's that old saying? Man works from sun to sun, but a woman's work is never done. Verse 27, she watches over the affairs of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. She isn't lazy. Mama's mama. Mama's mama, on a winter's day, milked the cows and fed them hay, slopped the hog, saddled the mule, and got the children off to school. She did a washing, mopped the floors, washed the windows, and did some chores. Cooked a dish of home-dried fruit, pressed her husband's Sunday suit, swept the parlor, made the bed, baked a dozen loaves of bread, split some firewood, and lugged it in, enough to fill the kitchen bin. Cleaned the lamps and put in oil. Stewed some apples she thought might spoil. Churned the butter, baked a cake, then exclaimed, "For mercy's sake, the cows have got out of the pen." Went out and chased them in again. Gathered the eggs, locked the stables, returned to the house and set the table. Cooked a supper that was delicious, and afterwards washed all the dishes. Fed the cat, sprinkled the clothes, mended a basket full of hose. Then opened the organ and began to play When You Come to the End of a Perfect Day. Her mouth speaks. Verse 26, she speaks with wisdom, and faithful instruction is on her tongue. Mama always said, what did Mama always say? For most of us, Mama said a lot, and generally it was for our own good. Here are what someone called great sayings of biblical mothers. Samson's mother said, "Get your hand out of that lion. You don't know where it's been." David's mother said, "I told you not to play in the house with that sling. Go practice your heart. We pay good money for those lessons." Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego's mother said, "Leave those clothes outside. You smell like a dirty old furnace." Noah's mother said, "You can't keep them. I told you, don't bring home any more strays." Judah's mother said, "Have you been in my purse again?" Verses 11 and 12. Her husband has full confidence in her and lacks nothing of value. She brings him good, not harm, all the days of her life. A grandmother was telling her granddaughter good night when the little girl said, "Mommy and Daddy are entertaining some very important people downstairs." "You're right," Grandma agreed, "but how did you know?" "Just listen," the little granddaughter said. "Mommy is laughing at all of Daddy's jokes." Where there is a lot of laughter in a home, you just know that something good is happening in that home. And of course, there needs to be more laughter in the home. Proverbs 17:22. A cheerful heart is good medicine. When there's a lot of laughter in a home, someone is putting out some good medicine. And it also shows a lot of love. A teacher at school put this question to little Jacob in math class. "Jacob, suppose your mother made a cherry pie and there were 10 of you at the table, your mother and father and 8 children. How much of the pie would you get?" "A 9th" was his answer. No, Jacob, now you're not paying attention. There are 10 of you in the home. Don't you know your fractions?" "Yes, man," he replied, "I know my fractions, but I know my mother even better. And she'd say that she didn't want any pie." The unselfishness of a mother shows a heart of love for her family. And all of us can remember many unselfish acts of devotion our mom has made to our homes. Her hands work, her mouth speaks, her heart loves. Today, if you're a mother living in a beautiful home, the spring flowers are in bloom, and your children are healthy, and you have a loving husband, then thank God for all of your blessings. Today is a happy day for you. But not everyone fits into that mold. And I think it is important for you to know that God has not forsaken you. He wants to bring his healing into your life. Into your home and into your family too. The young mother set her foot on the path of life. Is the way long? She asked. Her guide answered, oh yes, and the way is hard, and you will be old before you reach the end of it, but the end will be better than the beginning. But the young mother was happy, and she did not believe anything could be better than these years. So she played with the children and gathered flowers for them along the way. The sun shone on them. Life was good. And the young mother said, nothing will ever be better than this. Then night came and storm, and the path was dark, and the children shook with fear and cold. And the mother drew them close and covered them with her cloak. The children said, oh, mother, we're not afraid, for you are near, and no harm can come. The mother said, this is better than the brightness of the day, for I have taught my children courage. Morning came, and there was a hill ahead, and the children climbed and grew weary. But she said to them, a little patience, and we'll soon be there. So the children climbed, and when they reached the top, they said, we could not have done it without you, Mother. And the mother, when she lay down that night, looked up at the stars and said, this is a better day than the last, for my children have learned perseverance in the face of difficulty. Yesterday I gave them courage. Today I have given them strength. With the next day came clouds, strange clouds, which darkened the earth, clouds of war and hatred and evil. And the children groped and stumbled. So the mother said, look up, lift up your eyes to the light. The children looked up and saw above the clouds an everlasting glory, and it guided them and brought them beyond the darkness. That night the mother said, this is the best day of all, for I have shown my children God. The days went on, and weeks, and months, and years, and the mother grew old and frail. But her children were strong and tall, and walked with courage. And when the way was hard, they helped their mother. And when the way was rough, they lifted her, for she was light as a feather. And at last they came to the golden gates, and they flung wide open. The mother said to them, I have reached the end of my journey, and now I know that the end is better than the beginning. For my children can walk alone, and their children after them. The children said, you will always walk with us, Mother, even when you have gone through the gates. And they stood and watched her as she went on alone, and the gates closed after her. And they said, we cannot see her, but she is with us still. A mother like ours will always be much more than just a memory. I will end with a poem from an unknown author and an acrostic for Mother, the name Mother. The poem: I will not have a temper tantrum, nor stomp across the floor. I will not pout, scream, or shout, or kick against the door. I will not throw my food around or pick upon another. I'll always try to be real good because I am a mother. And the acrostic: M is for the million things she does. O is for the only one that loves. T is for the tears just because she is near. H is for her warm and tender hugs. E is even more than extraordinary. And R is for how always right she was in every single way. Mamma mia, here we go again. May God bless all mothers in Yeshua's name. Shabbat Shalom.